Wednesday, June 14th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including a man shooting himself Tuesday in a Milford park, a bank robber in Darien, and much more. Frank Onito will have a look at your forecast later on and a Nutmeg Sports update, and Donald Ang will join us to take a look back on this day in history. But first, a 46-year-old Milford man shot and killed himself at Eisenhower Park Tuesday. The park was closed for much of the afternoon, and several nearby Milford schools were on lockdown as police responded to reports that an emotionally disturbed man was in the park with a gun. Now, police cars, fire engines, and other emergency vehicles converged on the scene, and police cars blocked various entrances to the park much of Tuesday afternoon. Police learned about the man when his mother called, telling police that he was distraught and suicidal and that he was also armed. Police pinged the man's cell phone and determined that he was in the park, according to police spokesman Michael DeVito. Just before 3:30 in the afternoon, police announced that the man had been found and that he had suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Mathewson School, Orange Avenue School, and Platt Tech were in lockdown part of Tuesday as a precautionary measure. And you can look for updates at milfordmirror.com. In other news, a suspect walked into a Darien bank on Monday afternoon and allegedly left with an unknown amount of cash from a teller's drawer after passing her a note. At about 3:30 in the afternoon on Monday, June 12th, Darien police responded to Chase Bank on the Post Road on a report of a bank robbery. That subject had walked into the bank, passed a note to a female teller demanding money. Darien police say that no weapon was displayed, nor was any threat made. The subject then left the bank after the teller gave them cash. The exact amount of the loss is still being tallied. There were 7 employees and 1 patron in the bank at the time of the incident, but there were no injuries or threats made. Now, the subject is described as a black male, about 5'9" to 6 feet, in his late 20s to early 30s, heavy set with a beard, at the time wearing a dark-colored bale cap, dark-colored oversized patterned shirt, and baggy pants, possibly gray or beige. The suspect was described to have tattoos on his left hand and on his face, described as a tribal design. Now, police say it's possible that those tattoos could have been temporary and part of an attempt to conceal facial features. The suspect was observed entering a white vehicle, a Toyota Camry with orange New York license plates. That vehicle was last observed in the parking lot and traveling eastbound on the Boston Post Road. But you can get more at DarienTimes.com. And this morning, Connecticut's congressmen are reacting to the shooting in Virginia that left House Majority Whip Stephen Scalise of Louisiana injured. Scalise's wounds were not believed to be life-threatening, officials said. He was among several struck by bullets, including 2 law enforcement officers, that according to Representative Mo Brooks of Alabama. Brooks described Scalise's injury as a hip wound. Now, as you can see there, U.S. Senator Chris Murphy said on Twitter, "We're all pulling for you, Steve Scalise. My heart is with you, the Capitol Police, and everyone who was on the scene." Now, U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal also tweeted he's hopeful everyone can put aside politics and support all affected. Representative Jim Himes said he was horrified by the shooting, tweeting, "Praying for those injured and grateful for those who keep us safe." And in other news, a Stamford man was abducted while he was walking on the west side early Tuesday morning and was driven to Cummings Beach, where he was beaten and robbed, according to police. The Stamford Advocate reports that police were looking for video cameras on the east and west sides that could help identify those assailants. Now, Sergeant Chris Brahms said the 26-year-old man was walking home at about 2:30 in the morning when a vehicle with 4 men inside pulled up near the corner of Greenwich Avenue and Milton Street. 2 of the men got out and grabbed the victim and threw him into the back seat. The driver went to Cummings Beach in Chapin, where the man was taken out of the car and kicked in the stomach several times, and his wallet and cash were taken. Police said the man had about $250 in cash on him. The assailants did not show any weapons. The 4 drove off, and the man walked to the Elm Street Dunkin' Donuts, where he called his brother. Police were called about 30 to 40 minutes after the robbery, and no suspects were found. Now, a Norwalk man was charged with voyeurism after police say he attempted to surreptitiously photograph his roommate through a small hole in a closet wall. Hearst, Connecticut media reports the roommate of the man, Jose Chum Hernandez, arrived home around 8 p.m. Monday and discovered a camera lens in a newly made hole in her closet wall. The alleged victim contacted police, and police said they located a camera attached to a wire in Chum Hernandez's room on the wall adjacent to the closet. Now, Chum Hernandez, who initially told police that he was unaware of the camera and suggested that it may be connected to cable service, finally admitted to police that he was trying to record his roommate. Police seized the man's electronic equipment and it was entered into evidence. Jose Chum Hernandez of Perry Avenue was charged with voyeurism and third-degree criminal mischief. Well, taking a turn now, let's throw it over to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And after a couple of days now where we've seen some record-breaking temperatures, we will finally get a little break from the heat. Mostly sunny skies today and comfortable conditions now with an expected high of 79. A little cloudier this afternoon, and it will be cooler overnight with temperatures dropping down into the low 60s before Thursday morning. Mostly sunny out and cooler again tomorrow with a high of only 73. Not as humid the second half of this week, and we'll see a light breeze between 12 to 15 miles per hour on Thursday. Some thickening cloud cover beginning in the late evening before an overcast night with a possible passing shower or two carrying into Friday morning. And cooler out again on Friday, mostly cloudy throughout the day. Temperatures sitting in the mid to high 60s through Friday afternoon, and there is a chance of a passing shower during the morning and afternoon commute. Cloud covers carries on overnight Friday, and there's a possibility of a thunderstorm or two before what should be a clear Saturday as we head into Father's Day weekend. That'll do it for this that'll do it for this weather update. Getting way too ahead of myself. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, well, when we come back, Frank will have your Nutmeg Sports Update. Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history, and there's more local news after this.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
Spring has sprung at Walter Stewart's Market, and we're celebrating the new season with fresh takes on spring. From the finest produce around to guaranteed fresh seafood delivered daily by the best local supplier. Not only are we your time-saving one-stop shop for everything you need this season, our personable team is always ready with a helping hand. Shop Stewart's for the best of spring. Find us at 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
The new fishing season is fast approaching, so it's time to head over to the dock shop and get your gear in order. We're now offering bait in both Darien and our Westport location. The dock shop can service and repair your rods and reels, spool up new line, and fill any empty space you might have in your tackle box. Whether you're a fisherman, boater, or beach bum, the dock shop is a unique place to shop. The dock shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Did you know heart attacks and strokes are the leading cause of death in America? Protect the health of you and your loved ones. Talk to a doctor about heart disease. Hi, I'm Dr. David Pazer with ProHealth Physicians, encouraging you to stay informed about health matters that affect you.
ProHealth Physicians is on the pulse of social media to share information about health and nutrition with the community. Get up-to-the-minute alerts, including ProHealth Physicians news and upcoming events. Connecticut's leading group of primary care doctors is just a click away.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
I can't believe it.
Well, Dad, you did it. You sold 160 cars. Ready to go back upstairs now?
I think it's time. I wonder how the boys are making out in their new office. Not what I had in mind, Kyle. What, Dad?
Maybe we should retire. Right now, lease a 2017 Rogue S for only $139 a month. Isn't it time you got Millerized?
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to this June 14th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. It's time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Eng. Don.
Well, Kate, people think we live in dangerous times now, but if your parents or grandparents are being honest with themselves, well, maybe not as much as they think. First, though, we're going to go back to 1777 on Flag Day. The Stars and Stripes adopted by Congress as the official U.S. flag. Now, the resolution called for alternating red and white stripes and 13 stars arranged in a constellation, but gave no direction on how the stars exactly were to be arranged. Now, two fun flag facts. The Star-Spangled Banner that inspired Francis Scott Key to poetry had 15 stars and 15 stripes. That was actually the official U.S. flag for 23 years after Vermont and Kentucky joined the Union. Also, 4 U.S. Navy ships and 1 Federation Starfleet heavy cruiser have had the name Constellation, which is named after the arrangement of the stars on the blue field. To 1951, the first universal automatic computer, that is UNIVAC, is dedicated by the U.S. Census Bureau. Weighing in at 8 tons, UNIVAC was capable of processing a whopping 5,000 instructions per second. Now, we don't use that measure of computer speed anymore, but if we did, chances are your cell phone, which also is your book collection and stereo and camera, your cell phone would run about 25 billion instructions per second. 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower signs a bill into law that places the words "under God" in the U.S. Pledge of Allegiance, the third time in its history the pledge had been modified. Raised a Jehovah's Witness, Eisenhower was baptized Presbyterian in his 60s and was arguably the most religious U.S. president in history. In fact, 2 years after altering the pledge, Eisenhower would make "In God We Trust" our second national motto. His trust in God did have some limits, though, as we see now from 1954. Look at this.
In an all-out mobilization of its civil defense forces, New York City goes on the alert following a simulated atomic attack. A strenuous 2.5-hour test. Firefighters and other emergency groups demonstrate their ability to cope with situations which might arise after a bombing and test the effectiveness of their training. Civil Defense Director Wallander and city officials praised the efficiency of the volunteers. The evacuation of the injured would be of major importance should an A-bomb actually fall on any of our country's busy ports or industrial centers. It's up to all of us to realize the danger and respond to the appeal for civil defense volunteers.
That was 1954. Americans take part in the first national civil defense test against atomic attack. That was actually the same day as the pledge signing. Sirens in 54 U.S. cities. Residents were supposed to run for the nearest bomb shelter, assuming they knew where it was. Eisenhower himself participated in the drill. By the way, you heard New York officials were happy with the emergency crews dealing with the casualties. Official estimates are that New York would have suffered 2 million casualties, so satisfied, a bit of a relative term. That is your look back in history for today, June 14th, and I'm Donald Eng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, Darien police arrested a Flushing, New York woman for credit card fraud after People's United Bank reported fraudulent activity on June 11th. Police responded to the bank just after 11 in the morning after employees noticed a woman attempting to use fraudulent cards at an ATM. Officers met with the woman at the scene and identified her as 38-year-old Gabriella Anache. According to police, the suspect appeared to be wearing a dark wig and sunglasses and would not answer questions about what she was doing at the bank or where she was coming from. Anache was allegedly holding an open wallet containing more than $1,500 in cash and $20 bills and a large amount of credit and gift cards. Based on the evidence at the scene, police contacted the Connecticut Financial Crimes Task Force and determined that the cards in Anache's possession were fraudulently cloned. She was placed under arrest and charged with 10 counts of credit card theft, among other charges. Well, let's throw it back over to Frank Granito now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And the FCIAC will be inducting 6 new members into its Hall of Fame this year, as the class of 17 will be honored at the league's year-ending banquet later this week. The group includes inductees from 7 schools and 6 towns. They are Mike King for his work as the Trumbull Athletic Director and the West Hill Athletic Director and girls basketball coach. Al Malizia of the Trinity Catholic girls volleyball team. Barry McLeod from Bridgeport Central boys basketball. Rob Murray of Danbury cross country, indoor and outdoor and track and field. Rick Osvik, Greenwich Soccer, Basketball, and his work as an athletic director, and Marge Trefone of the Darien girls and boys swimming team. Last year, the FCIAC also introduced 2 new awards in honor of John Kutzo and Ralph King, who retired after many years of service to the league. The recipients of those awards will also be honored at the banquet this June. The winner of the John Kutzo Award will be Pat Spinola, and the winner of the Ralph King Award will be Laddie Lawrence. We'll have more on these inductees into the Hall of Fame, along with a couple of captains from one of our championship teams this spring, joining Kevin Coleman and myself on Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Make sure you tune in, because that'll do it for this Nutmeg Sports update for real this time. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, a bear in a tree on Bridgeport Avenue in Milford attracted some attention Tuesday morning. The bear, which appeared to be a large cub, was eating leaves while perched in a tree at the edge of a parking lot at a Bridgeport Avenue medical complex. Now, Animal Control Officer Scott Ellingson said, "As far as I know, it's just one black bear, and there have been a few calls and sightings." Several days earlier, people reported seeing a bear, possibly the same bear, near Mama Teresa's Italian restaurant on the Boston Post Road. According to the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, there have been 10 bear sightings in Milford, which is relatively low compared to other towns like Avon with 550 and Simsbury with 301. And in other news, in Shelton, Sean Segura was approved as the city's new police chief at a May 25th Board of Aldermen meeting, and his 5-year contract was approved last Thursday, June 8th. Now, roughly 20 members of the police department attended that June 8th Alderman meeting to show their support of Segura. The city's new chief said the people of Shelton can expect more of what the department has been showing since he took over as interim chief back in October 2015. He said, in part, we're going to continue to work toward higher accreditation standards, monitor traffic conditions, continue to work on safety and risk reduction within the community, and continue to keep the businesses, both small and large, safe. Now, despite questions about the newly appointed police chief's contract being raised by several aldermen, it was only opposed by one. Fourth Ward Alderman Noreen McGorty made the motion to table the vote on Chief Sean Segura's contract on Thursday, May 25th, saying the 2 days between a public hearing and a scheduled vote did not allow a full review of details. At a June 8th Alderman meeting, McGorty didn't physically attend, but wrote a letter to Board of Aldermen President John N. Glace, which he read for the record. In the letter, she stated that although she voted for Segura to be the city's new police chief, she did not approve the 5-year contract. But you can read her full statements at sheltonherald.com. Now, in an effort to promote public health, the Trumbull Health Department is offering free blood pressure screenings at the Trumbull Farmers Market on Huntington Turnpike on Thursday, June 29th from 3:30 to 5 p.m., and no appointments are necessary. Now, according to the Trumbull Health Department Director, Rhonda Capuano, they want the public to take advantage of one-stop shopping. You can grab your produce, breads, and flowers at the farmers market and have your blood pressure checked at the same time. She said preventative care is crucial. Now, high blood pressure, of course, increases the risk for heart disease and stroke, both leading causes of death in the United States. And in other news, Ridgefield's Ballard Park is home to a number of benches commemorating loved ones who have passed away. Well, Grace Matz, an 8th grader at East Ridge Middle School, noticed that there weren't any memorials for Ridgefield children. She's decided to fundraise for a swing that would honor young people in town who have died. Grace used to be Ridgefield resident Justin Cowan's assigned buddy. She brought him his homework and helped him stay up to date with his classes while he battled cancer, a fight that eventually took his life last August. Grace wanted her social studies service project to honor him and the rest of children who have passed on in town. Her friend Marina Harris, a Ridgefield High School graduate, has been helping her with contact information for families who have lost a child. The East Ridge student has started a GoFundMe page and encourages every family who has lost a child and would like their names featured on the plaque to get in touch. You can visit her donation page at gofundme.com/angelswings. Well, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories we're following on your coffee break after this.
In Sports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Sign-ups are now open for one of our most popular programs, the New England 80 Elite Lacrosse Division I and Division III showcases. With D1 and D3 coaches in attendance, players will receive a 60-minute webinar with Director of Recruiting Hans Hansen, a custom NE80 penny, custom shorts, and a video of all games. Last year's event sold out quickly, so sign up now for the next showcase coming in January 2018. Like and follow us on Facebook.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
On time, done right, safe and reliable. MrHandymanCT.com.
Let our satisfied customers tell it.
I have called Mr. Handyman for every reason, every occasion, every broken item, every leak. They have bailed me out on many occasions, and I would recommend them to anyone.
For any project, large or small.
MrHandymanCT.com.
Pizza to satisfy even the most demanding critics. Tuesday Pazza Pizza.
I'm Tracy Masella, a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. Join me each month as we talk with experts on the front lines of the treatment of mental health and addiction. Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production, airs at 12 p.m. on the second Thursday of each month here on the HAN network.
Welcome back to this Wednesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. A 46-year-old Milford man shot and killed himself at Eisenhower Park on Tuesday. Now, the park was closed for much of the afternoon, and several nearby Milford schools were on lockdown as police responded to reports that an emotionally disturbed man was in the park with a gun. Police cars, fire engines, and other emergency vehicles converged on the scene, and police cars blocked various entrances to the park much of the afternoon. Police learned about the man when his mother called, telling police that he was distraught and suicidal and also armed. Police pinged the man's cell phone and determined that he was in the park, according to police spokesman Michael DeVito. Just before 3:30, police announced that the man had been found and that he had suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Mathewson School, Orange Avenue School, and Platt Tech were in lockdown part of Tuesday as a precautionary measure. You can get more details at milfordmirror.com. In other news, a suspect walked into a Darien bank on Monday afternoon and allegedly left with an unknown amount of cash from the teller's drawer after passing her a note. At about 3:30 on Monday, June 12th, police responded to the Chase Bank on the Post Road for a report of a bank robbery. The subject had reportedly walked into the bank and passed a note to a female teller demanding money. Darien police say that no weapon was displayed nor was any threat made, and the subject left that bank after the teller gave the subject cash. The exact amount of the loss is still being tallied. tallied. There were 7 employees and 1 patron in the bank at the time of the incident, but no injuries or threats were made. Now, the subject is described as a black male, about 5'9" to 6 feet tall, in his late 20s to early 30s. He's also described as heavy-set with a beard, wearing a dark-colored ball cap, dark-colored oversized patterned shirt, and baggy pants, possibly gray or beige. The suspect was described to have tattoos on his left hand and on his face, described as a tribal design. Now, police say that it's possible those tattoos could have been temporary and part of an attempt to conceal his facial features. He was observed entering a white vehicle described as a Toyota Camry with orange New York State license plates. The vehicle was last observed exiting the parking lot and traveling eastbound on the Boston Post Road. But you can get more at DarienTimes.com. Now, Connecticut's delegation are reacting this morning to the shooting in Virginia that left House Majority Whip Steve Scalise of Louisiana wounded. Scalise's wounds were not believed to be life-threatening, according to officials. Scalise was among several struck by bullets, including 2 law enforcement officers, that according to Representative Mo Brooks of Alabama. Brooks described Scalise's injuries as a hip wound. Now, U.S. Senator Chris Murphy said on Twitter that we are all pulling for you, Steve Scalise. My heart is with you and the Capitol Police and everyone who was on the scene. U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal tweeted he's hopeful everyone can put aside politics and support all affected. Representative Jim Himes also said he was horrified by the shooting, tweeting, praying for those injured and grateful for those who keep us safe. Now, as an update to that story, that shooter has been identified as James Hodgkinson of Belleville, Illinois. In other news, a Stamford man was abducted while he was walking on the west side early Tuesday morning and driven to Cummings Beach, where he was beaten and robbed. The Stamford Advocate reports that police were looking for video cameras on the east and west sides that could help identify those assailants. Sergeant Chris Brome said the 26-year-old was walking home at about 2:30 in the morning when a vehicle with 4 men inside pulled up near the corner of Greenwich Ave and Milton Street. 2 of the men got out and grabbed the victim and threw him into the back seat. The driver then went to Cummings Beach in Chapin, where the man was taken out of the car and kicked in the stomach several times. His wallet and cash were also taken. He had about $250 in cash on him at the time. The assailants, however, did not show any weapons. The 4 then drove off, and the man walked to the Elm Street Dunkin' Donuts, where he called his brother. Police were called about 30 to 40 minutes after the robbery, and no suspects were found. All right, let's take one final look at the forecast with Frank Granito. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And again, getting a break from that heat wave today now as we're seeing record highs come back to a comfortable temperature. We're looking at somewhere around an expected high of 79 today. Mostly sunny skies. There is a little bit of cloud cover moving in this afternoon, and it will be cooler overnight with temperatures dropping into the low 60s. Mostly sunny and cooler again tomorrow with a high of only 73. Not as humid down the stretch of this week. We'll see a light breeze around 12 to 15 miles per hour on Thursday. Thickening cloud cover moves in the late evening, and it will be overcast skies tomorrow night with a possible passing shower or 2 carrying into Friday morning. Cooler out again Friday, mostly cloudy throughout the day. There's a chance of some passing showers for your morning and afternoon commutes with highs in the mid to high 60s. And then Friday night, that cloud cover is going to hang around. There's a possibility of a thunderstorm or 2 before we head into Father's Day weekend, which should be much clearer around Fairfield County. It's going to do it for the weather. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, we're going to wrap things up here on your coffee break. CT Pulse coming up at 12:30 today. Be sure to check it out. Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock, and we'll see you tomorrow for your coffee break at 11. Have a great day.